What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back again with another live stream for you guys after our epic 4-3 victory against Leeds yesterday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in what was yet more late drama for Tottenham this season. I'm joined by the great Brian Daigle from Tottenham on Tour. You all know who he is by now. How you doing, Brian? Thanks. Pleasure having you with us.
It's always good to be back with you, Simeon. And yeah, I think epic was the word for yesterday, wasn't it? The comeback.
Yeah.
Once again, the comeback kings.
I mean, yesterday was shocking yet utterly predictable as well in terms of how it went. It was an amazing game. I mean, who would have predicted we'll be losing at half-time? Shock horror. Who would have predicted we would have conceded the first goal? Shock horror. Who would have thought there would be more late goals yesterday? Shock horror. But yet, once we go 3-2 down with 15 minutes to go. At that point, you are thinking we've probably, this one is another game too far for us. We've again given ourselves too much to do, but the team did show great character, great grit, determination to get those 3 points, and these are all characteristics 100% that come from the manager.
Couldn't agree more with you. Couldn't agree more. I think the only positive in the first half was we actually scored a goal. That was the only difference. We broke that first half not scoring, but yeah, like you said, the characteristics is coming from Conte, isn't it? That resilience, that never say die attitude, and thank God we signed off with that great victory.
All right, so let's get into the match review then. Let's bring up the phone just to tell the story of the game. Get the stats. Let's get the stats up. So overall in the game, we had 14 shots to Leeds' 12. We had 8 shots on target to Leeds' 5. So we were definitely had much better quality with our chances. In terms of big chances, 6 big chances to Spurs, 4 to Leeds. So we missed 4 out of our 6 big chances. So our finishing wasn't great. Whereas Leeds had 4 big chances and conceded 3 and scored 3 of them. Only missed 1. In terms of how it went in halves, it was quite interesting because in the first half we had 7 shots to Leeds' 5, and we had 4 big chances in the first half, which we missed 3 of them. And in the second half, it was 7 shots each, and we had 2 big chances to Leeds' 1. So the stats say we were better in the first half than the second half. And to be fair, I tend to kind of agree. If you look at the progress bar here, as you can see, there's a lot less blue in that first half than there is in the second half, and I think that pretty much tells the story of the game. I thought we started okay. Leeds obviously got that goal. Then I thought we responded really well to the goal we conceded. We got the equaliser. Then Leeds again, I thought, against run of play, got the second goal. We responded really well. We got the equaliser, and then Leeds came back into it again late in the first half. We started the second half really well, got the equaliser again, and then between the equaliser and Leeds going 3-2, it was pretty much all Leeds, as this progress bar shows. And then after we go 3-2 down and the subs come on, we ended the game really strongly and ended up getting all 3 points. So I think that does tell the story of the game pretty accurately for me, that progress bar. But in terms of the first half, did you feel like we were unlucky to be 2-1 down, or is it a case again of when you constantly giving yourself so much to do if you're constantly making those errors at the back, like can you at the end of the day it comes to a quality issue?
Yeah, I mean, what I will say with the first half, some of our one-touch passing and our movement was radically improved compared to where it has been for the first half of most games this season, and it looked. We were really doing some causing some damage for them, but it's every time they get to our back line, you panic, and they were ruthless, weren't they? Like I said, they were ruthless in that first half. Whenever they got near, panic. It kind of started reminding me of back in the day of Yardilis with the famous 5, but with our defence being so weak, so weak.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I felt yesterday because I felt like, in the first half, we were a lot more open. We were going more attacking, and that's what people have been calling for. But but I think people have got to realise that's the risk we run when we open up, because if we go forward, I think yesterday we were throwing caution to the wind. I thought the centre backs were getting forward, Ben Davies and Dyer. They were creating overlaps. We were leaving gaps at the back. We were putting risk, and what happened? We got caught a few times on the counter, and we were open because. When you have players like Dyer and Davis, and even Longley, to be fair as well, when you have them in one-on-one situations or in situations where there's lots of space, they're not the quickest centre-backs. So they can easily get caught. That's why we need to defend very compact and not to restrict as much space as possible, because these defenders, when they get isolated and you give the opposition space, I think they get found out time and time again. And I think that's why a lot of the time Conte or Spurs play the way they do, to protect that back line. And that's why we need better quality defenders.
You summed it all up. Yeah, that's the thing. With better defenders, it's not that much for a risk when we get caught out, because they're there to do their job. One thing I found very dire yesterday is even when he loses the ball, he's so slow in getting back. Ben Davies will bust a gut to try and get back, as will Longley. He's just very, very... When he's out of position, it takes him a good while to get back, and that was punishing us. And then obviously playing on the right of a three, and then you've got Emerson alongside him. It's a huge weakness. It's a huge weakness. Like I said, we just need better defenders. I think if we had better defenders... I would have been prepared to see Tanganga yesterday. At least he would have offered something different. And we could have seen.
But as you said yesterday, in the first half, we were playing some really good football. You know, the chance, which we'll talk about Emerson in a bit, but
yep.
The chance that Emerson had was born out from beautiful football down that left-hand side, opening really quick exchanges. And it's no surprise, as I'm saying, we were throwing caution to win. Davis was the one in the penalty area to create the chance, and for Emerson obviously a right wing back also in the penalty area. So we were playing really good football when we had the ability to, but we kept getting caught. So, I mean, can you maybe have a bit of sympathy for Conte, who, when he tried, because people are calling him, play more attacking, go forward, be more offensive, be more entertaining, and he does it yesterday. And we do play good football, and we do throw quarter to win. Yet at the back, our defence keeps getting caught out because they're not good enough. So he's kind of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, in a way.
Yeah,
with our back line at the moment.
I can agree with that. I can agree with, because going forward and playing that football just showed how exposed we are, didn't it? It really does. And like you said, I really enjoy some of the one-touch football was lovely. Although what I will say is some of the players' first touches were letting them down in that first half as well. Seemed to be more regular than not. But yeah, I completely agree with what you just said there.
Yeah. So it's I think that has to be taken into context when when we talk about the football that we play and the quality and stuff, because we've conceded 21 goals now in 15 games, and that is by all stretch of the imagination, that is not how a Conte side, that does not reflect of how Conte usually his sides usually play. That's definitely reflective of the quality we have in the back line in this current situation. But at the end of the day, we're still fourth, 9 wins out of 15, 29 points out of 15 games. So not too much you can really throw at him in terms of the results he's getting. I don't think you can argue, if we had a more offensive manager right now, that we would be doing much better in the league than fourth, as things stand with the current. I don't think any manager, except for maybe like a Klopp or a Guardiola, and even them, I think you can make a good argument that it wouldn't be the case. But I don't think any manager right now could get better results with this current squad than he is.
Again, I agree with you. Like you put the tweet out, as did many others, about after 38 games, the amount of points he's accumulated. For what he's done with that defence, the guy deserves a medal. The guy deserves a medal. There is no way you can see another manager doing it. We are where we are. We've seen what he can do. We just need some stronger foundations to build the house, don't we? And then watch him go. But yeah, if someone had said top 4 this time, I'd bite your hand off.
It's why it frustrates me when at half time yesterday, again, there are boos at half time when we're losing. Whereas even though we just said that we weren't even playing badly in the first half. We were playing good football, and unfortunately we were 2-1 down because of really poor defensive mistakes. And I think the fan base disappoint me sometimes. And I think it was when they're doing ironic cheers when Emerson Royal was going off of being substituted. I know he had a really bad game and he hasn't been great, but he's not like he's there not trying his best. He's not great, but to do like ironic cheers, it doesn't sit right with me when you're supposed to be supporting a player. And I felt bad for him yesterday although apparently he didn't seem to realise what was happening.
Yeah, was that actually his official one?
I don't know.
I think it's one of those new blue tick parody ones. Yeah,
fair enough.
I think.
But I kind of felt bad when he's going off and he's trying his best, and the fans are giving him ironic cheers when he's going off. And I think, I don't know what do the fans expect? They expect instant success. They expect us to be challenging for titles already, because it was always going to, if Conte was going to work out, it was always going to take a bit of time to get the players he wants, for everything to fall into place. And I think he's doing well for at the moment. You know, he got us into top 4 last season, and I think at the moment he's doing a good job in the dugout. And I think he comes under too much. Look, it's fair enough to criticise him if he's not doing his job. And I'm not saying he's immune from criticism. I'm just saying in the bigger picture and overall things, he's doing a good job at Tottenham, and I don't understand why what it seems to me anyway is the dissent against Conte seems to be growing, and I don't understand why.
I don't understand it one bit either. I actually think the boos that came out at half time was solely on the players. It's very hard to say that all the boos are solely for Conte. It could be the referee, it could be the board, it could be a host of things. But no, I'm saying in any game, the boos could be for multiple reasons. But again, I think it's those boos were aimed at the performance, or the defensive performance, should I say. I think that's the main gripe I would imagine most people have got at the moment, the defence, as opposed to Conte, because people who are doubting Conte, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I just don't see where we go without him. The defence is a shambles. Like you said, we were in the top 4, and we've got the most points, more than Klopp and Guardiola had after 38 games at their respective clubs. What more can you want for?
Yeah, and that really puts it into perspective as to how good of a job he's doing, and he's doing it with no disrespect, but it's maybe not to Klopp, but definitely to a squad that Guardiola walked into. You know, it's not as good as, he didn't have a lot of the players that Guardiola had at his disposal when he walked into that job, and even he had to spend hundreds of millions to improve the back line, and he spent, I think, in his first summer, he spent 50 million on Walker, 50 million on Mendy.
That was his second summer.
Second summer, but after his first
season.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know what I mean, after his first year. So that, you know, it shows that it does take time. Even for Guardiola, it took time. I think he finished 4th in his first season, and so it takes time for all these managers, and this is and it takes time for a manager who has unlimited funds at his disposal and can pretty much just pick and choose who he wants. It's not the same for us, so it's obviously probably going to take even more time for us to get to that kind of stage. So I think we got to get in perspective of what a job Antonio Conte is doing, and I think the boos are completely uncalled for, in my opinion. And I don't understand. I understand some games, you know, the football hasn't been great and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we're the third highest goal scorers in the league. What more do you want? Yeah, I mean,
I think where it goes here is obviously, like you said, there's a lot of, you've seen with Klopp, with Van Dijk, like I said, Man City, they realised the defence was their issue. All right, they've got unlimited funds, but they went and addressed the defence. Mm-hmm. Come January, I don't think we can wait till the summer to... Obviously, I don't expect us to sign a whole defence in January, but we need to make a couple of additions to that defence as a absolute priority. Like, if we see we're going for strikers or midfielders, I just won't understand what we're doing. That defence needs to be addressed in January if we have any hopes for staying in that top 4 or doing more in the Champions League. So we will have to wait and see, won't we?
Definitely. Going back on the game, we're 2-1 down at half time. By the way, the goal for the equaliser from the corner, was it a foul on the goalkeeper?
Yes.
For you?
Yeah, for me, we were watching it here. Mm-hmm. And it was I think it was Richarlison and Longley.
Yeah.
And it was like one of them jumped into the other, then jumped into, for me, VAR looked favourably on us for once, because for me that's a foul all day.
I think if it's a player on player, I don't think anyone says anything. But because it's the goalkeeper who they're obviously much more protected than the other defenders, I think, I do think it was probably a foul. I think that Longley was challenging for the ball. I didn't think he only had eyes on the keeper. I didn't think he was generally going for the ball. So from that point of view, was it a clear and obvious error from the ref? And that's the only thing they're going to look at.
Yep.
I did think maybe we got a bit lucky with it, but to be fair, in terms of the finish, brilliant from Harry Kane. That little touch that really made the goal, wasn't it? Really making sure that Tyler Adams didn't get the clearance in, and also was a finish. I think Leeds definitely will feel a bit unlucky, but as you say, we're creating chances that first half. We conceded pretty much just before half time. Second half comes along. We get the equaliser fairly early in the second half. Ben Davies with a pile driver of the edge of the area after some more good work from Kulusevski yet again.
Yep.
But in that period, after the equaliser until Leeds got their third goal, we will look dead. We look completely out of energy. We look like out on our feet. We didn't look like we were getting anywhere near any of the Leeds players, and it did look like it was a matter of time before Leeds went and took the lead. I wouldn't say they had chance after chance, but they were dominating the game. They were controlling the game, and they were passing it around, and it was almost as if it was a training session at times, the way they were just passing it in that period. So, what do you put it down to tiredness? Is that tactics for that 20-minute period? What do you reckon?
I just don't know. I don't know if it was World Cup-itis and the players that are going on the plane didn't want to, like loads of people have been discussing. But I'll tell you what it looked like. It looked like, when you're playing FIFA on the game's consoles and you've pushed triangle so much and they're out of energy, so they can't run faster anymore. That's what it looked like. For like 15, 20 minutes, it looked like they were all exhausted, and then we just sprung to life. It's like,
it was a weird one because we made the subs, and then very shortly after we made the
subs were weird though. First, did you not think that
they were weird,
Sanchez...
but it worked? It worked. I mean, you could complain about them what you want. You can complain about Sanchez coming on and you're needing a goal and you're bringing on Basuma for Richarlison, but it did exactly what we needed. It added energy, added a bit of bite back into the game. All of a sudden, we were winning the ball back. All of a sudden, we were able to press a lot higher up the pitch because we weren't as concerned with Sanchez in the wide centre-back role as Dyer, because he's a lot quicker than Dyer, so we can push a lot further up the field. And I think tactically, it had the desired effect. So I got to give it, and Doherty obviously for Emerson. Emerson, obviously the ironic boos came, ironic cheers. I think that needed to happen, that substitution. I thought he was horrendous pretty much throughout the game. But whatever you want to say about Conte subs, I thought they had the desired effect, so you can't really complain about them too much.
No, when at the time you can, but then when they get the result at the end of 90 minutes, you're like, oh, well, that worked well. I think the subs themselves, I don't think it was a bit of just luck, like he made those subs, but those subs didn't have an effect. I think the subs really did. And I think you've got to give him credit. I think tactically it worked, and I think those individuals actually did well when they came on. Whisper it quietly, but I actually think Sanchez had a pretty good cameo yesterday, and I've got to give him credit where credit's due, because we give him a lot of shit when he plays badly, and which happens a lot, but he came on yesterday and I thought he really positively affected the team, so fair play to him. They do go 3-2 down after 76 minutes, just after the sub, so you're thinking the new energy will give life to this team, and we started to spring into life a bit, but we got hit very soon after the substitution was made. Bentancur with a nutmeg, and then obviously in the ground it looks like a foul, but on reflection, probably a bit of a weak moment from Bentancur. He a bit sloppy, gives it away. They go 3-2 up with we've got to say, amazing finish from Rodrigo, arrowed it into the corner, and you're thinking Spurs, 15 minutes to go. We've looked so dead and buried before that moment because of we just look tired. We look like we've got nothing left to give, pretty much. And Conte admitted, but after the game, this team were very, very tired going into this game. So we looked absolutely on our feet, and so it really did. You really didn't envisage that we would have that energy to go again and to really have that final push those last 15 minutes. But you got to give credit to the team because they found the energy from somewhere. Basuma, Sanchez gave us a bit, and Doherty as well on the right-hand side gave us a bit of energy. Kulusevski, who was quiet for those 20 minutes, became alive again. And we ended up scoring 2 quick goals and winning the game. And then once they get a man sent off, it's game over. But I think the character we showed to kind of find that second wind in those last 10 minutes, make sure that we make it difficult for Leeds to hold on to that result, press them high, really put them under significant pressure, and they buckled under the pressure. I knew if we could get this Leeds defence under pressure, they could buckle, because they've been poor all season, their defence. So I think we've done very well to do that to them, and to
to get the victory at the end of the day was really, really crucial, and it was really impressive. But for those last 15 minutes, it's almost, again, it's classic Tottenham. It's like we needed to go 3-2 down to find that second wind and push on. But and it's almost as like when we have nothing to lose, then we can show our quality, and then the pressure's off a bit. But as soon as like it's 2-2 and there's something to hang on to, you don't want to concede the next goal, so you don't want to be too open. Then we're very cagey and we're not sure what to do next. But as soon as we can see that third goal, it's like, all right, we know what we need to do. We need to go all out.
Yep.
Really press them high, and then we got a third goal, and then momentum was with us. So, what is it about this team? It's like we can't. The only time we were leading yesterday was with the last goal, and it's like
it's crazy, isn't it?
It's like we need to concede to get ahead. It's crazy.
It really is. What I will say is obviously I don't know if there's a more informed player in the Premier League right now than Rodrigo Bentancur. For the last 6-7 weeks, he has been absolutely a colossus. And for someone that couldn't score a goal in God knows how many games, at the moment he can't stop. He's a very, very special player. And it looks like he's going to become a very, very, very integral part of anything we do. But you're right, we just seem to find that second wind. And do you know what you had about the resilience and the mentality and the steel of the team? You got to remember, Man City picked up a defeat. So they knew they had the chance to pick up points. They knew Arsenal were away to Wolves and could have gone even further. So they had that on top of them as well. And they rallied together. And they got it done. The one thing I will say, which hasn't been really spoken about or speaking about in the watch along, with that fourth goal, the reverse ball by Kane to Kulusevski. And Kane was quite quiet in that second half. The reverse ball to Kulusevski does wonders, but that reverse ball to Kane, his vision for a pass, whether it be a 40-yard crossfield pass or one of those cute reverse balls, it was brilliant and set it on its way. And just an unbelievable finish. And all the stress they gave us turned into huge relief and joy and euphoria, didn't it?
Yeah, we finally got there in the end, and it was a fantastic victory. You could see how much it meant to the team to get that comeback. And to be fair to this team, whatever you want to say about this Conte team, and you could say we give ourselves too much to do, and you can say that, we make defensive mistakes and all these kind of things. That's all true. But what you can't doubt is their grit, determination to come back. They never say die attitude. They never give up. They always go till the end. Sometimes they make it. Sometimes they don't. But 13 points this season from losing positions. You don't do that if you don't have that mentality to always keep going and to never give up. And that's one. And that's one thing I associate with this team is. That never say die attitude, which Conte has definitely instilled in this team, and that's clear to see. We've shown it time and time again. And as I say, sometimes like against Liverpool, we don't get there, but we always give it a good go to try and get back in the game. And if we could have a bit of better quality with that same attitude, we could be a serious outfit. And it's all about just improving the quality of the team, but. That's why I don't understand the boos and stuff, because I understand, you want maybe better players and stuff, but like, how can you watch this team and think they're not giving their absolute everything and giving their all and trying their best to get the result? And I think that needs to be acknowledged.
You're right to a point, but what I'll say with that is we're talking about their mentality, their die-hard attitude, their non-stop. Why was there not a single shade of that on Wednesday when we were in Nottingham? That's the annoying thing. Yes, it's a cup game, but that desire, that passion, that commitment, that drive, you and I know there was absolutely none of that.
Conte takes Kane off after an hour, so that comes down from the manager. You know what I mean? What kind of message is that sending when he does that? Is he saying that Kane is so dead that he can't carry on, or is he saying, look, we're 2-0 down, it's time to move on from this game? And I think that's maybe what the message was.
Maybe that could have been, but before he went off, it was just still there. We didn't see anything on Wednesday. It was like it was the shadow of themselves. But yeah, the main thing is they're doing it in the Premier League, which is the bread and butter. Champions League, yep, when that resumes.
And like in the whole group stage, there were times where, in the last game against Lisbon, we again, our quality gets us in a situation where we're in a bad position, but we pull through and we come back again and we give it our all. And a lot of the times we are coming back against the sides like Newcastle and against Liverpool and we're playing the better sides, we are coming unstuck. But we are coming unstuck. We're still, giving it a good go to try and get back in the game and never not giving up till the end. And I think this team has that mentality instilled in them to do that. I know, look, you're always going to have games where you can't do it every single game for sure. And I think Forest was one of those games. You've got to chalk that to a very, very bad day at the office for sure. We were horrendous that game. But I think when it in the important games, I think we've been showing it. And fair play to us to getting the win again yesterday in very difficult circumstances like Bournemouth. I think we've been squeezing these wins out the last few weeks where it's been really difficult for us to keep up with the demands of the schedule, with injuries as well playing their part. And I think you've seen it's been difficult for us in these past few weeks. I think everyone has seen that. And obviously we need better depth and we need better quality, but I think that there's been a monumental effort to get these wins over the line over the past few weeks. And I wish we didn't suffer some of the defeats we did do, but the wins we did, very, very hard fought. We've done very well to get them.
Yep, no, you're right there. You're right on that point. Where we have had to dig deep and make sure that we get the job done. Too many times for my liking. Too many times, but like you said, listen, we all knew it's not just Tottenham Hotspur, it's every team in the Premier League and world football now with the World Cup that these things are happening with the schedules.
Let's be honest, the only two teams who aren't really struggling right now when in a sort of schedule, well, three teams you could argue. Newcastle only play one game a week.
Yep.
Arsenal have probably the youngest team in the league, one of the youngest teams in the league, so they seem to have boundless amounts of energy.
And they've been rotating in Europa.
And they can rotate in Europa. And then Man City, who, by the way, are struggling a bit, but will have probably the deepest squad in the league by far and by lots of quality. Everyone else seems to be struggling to balance the schedule right now. And even teams with deeper squads than us, Chelsea and Man United, are struggling with the schedule right now. So is it any surprise that we're also struggling with that schedule?
No, that's a fair point. And like I said, I know when we first come back, the Christmas bit is a little bit more congested, but come, I think, February, it starts clearing up a bit more and the Champions League will go back. So hopefully that will be easier for us to get more rotation and hopefully the better quality will be in there. And we've got to remember, all of the tougher games where we've played have been away.
Yeah.
So apart from Anfield, obviously we played Liverpool at home.
We've gone to Old Trafford, we've gone to Stamford Bridge, we've gone to Upton Park, which is always a difficult game for us. We've gone to Emirates.
Exactly.
So we've gone to a lot of tough away games so far. So we do obviously have those home games to come. All right, let's talk about individuals from yesterday. Let's talk about this guy. Let's bring on the phone Rodrigo Bentancur. Obviously got 2 late goals. Someone in the comments said that the foul that was not a foul for that third goal might have even spurned him on for those last 50 minutes to try and get the goals to recover the situation. But in terms of yesterday, obviously he scored 2 goals. He won 4 of his 8 ground duels. He's had only a 71% passing accuracy, which is unlike Bentancur. But obviously he got those. He got the 2 tackles, 2 interceptions, covered a lot of ground in the centre of the park. Obviously got the 2 late goals to win the game. Kulusevski, in his post-match interview, said he congratulated Bentancur on getting the 2 goals, and he said he claims that Bentancur is quote, one of the most underrated players in world football. Now, the question I've put in the title is Bentancur world class? Is it too early to give him that label? He has shown brilliant. He has shown brilliant form. Obviously, maybe you need more. You need to show more than form to get that label. However, when you take into the fact that when he was at Juventus, obviously he won loads of titles when he was there, and he was a mainstay in that team. He was, apart from maybe in his last year, he was one of their, I think he had the most appearances over like a 3-year period before the last year going into it. So he was clearly a mainstay in a very good Juventus team. Look at them now, they're struggling to even get top 4. So it's not, you can say, it's easy to win the league in Italy, but last 2 years they haven't won it, and since he's left, so clearly can't take it too much for granted. And since he's coming to Tottenham, things have improved dramatically. In his first season, obviously we got top 4, and he was a mainstay in that team, and he had some really great performances. In this season, he seems to have taken his game to another level, adding goals to his game 5 goals and 2 assists this season already in the Premier League. In 4 goals in the Premier League, 1 in the Champions League, but in the overall all competitions, 5 goals and 2 assists, which for a midfielder like him is very impressive. So what does he like? And in terms of his silky ability in the middle, he's obviously clearly a very good dribbler. He consistently pulls off 2 or 3 dribbles per game now. He's looking to the more offensive part of his game, but his defensive part has always been really strong. He makes so many tackles, so many interceptions. Where does he rank for you right now, Bentancur, in terms of his quality?
You know, it's crazy you've done that as a title. I've seen a few people on Twitter, and it's actually become quite a long messaging thread where people are now saying he's surpassed Dembele and has done more for the club than Dembele. And I think that's very, very, that's a big statement to make. That's a huge statement to make. There is no doubt this guy has the attributes and everything to become labelled as world class. He's obviously done it at Juve, but like I said, when we signed him, I didn't even know he existed, in all honesty. I'm not a big watcher of Italian football, so I couldn't really comment. But what I did see of him last season was why we signed him was that transition from defence to attack, how he won the ball, got to get up the field and got it to the forwards. And I really enjoyed seeing that part of his game. And then this season, like you said, he's elevated that latter third stage. That's the one part he has improved compared to Dembele. Whereas Dembele could get the ball forward and then shots on goal or creating wasn't his strong point, this guy started to show that he's got this in his armoury. And he's finding these positions. He's being so effective. Like I said, the dribbles he's doing now, he's taking 2 or 3 players on like they're not even there. Nutmegs like Dele Alli used to, and everything.
He did get him in trouble for that third goal, but then again, he did nutmeg one of the players, and he put himself in a good position to get forward. And obviously, he did make a mistake, but he made up for it, didn't he?
Well, this is why I think when you look at it now, when you say his pass completion rate at 71%, that's a little bit low for him. It's because I think he's trying to be more adventurous. And if you are trying to be more adventurous, not every single pass is going to come off every single time, as opposed to a 5 or 10 yard ball to Højbjerg or to whoever may be. If someone said to me, how would you expect him in his first year to be, I wouldn't have. He has exceeded every single expectation I had of him by far. He is a wonderful player to watch. He is a wonderful player for us. He seems to have settled into London quickly.
He seems to be taking a bit more responsibility in the offensive part of his game, and he seems to be. I felt like when he first joined, he was being very safe, just backwards, sideways. And to be fair, like he was being very safe, but he was a defensive midfielder, so you can kind of accept it. But he would never. He wasn't driving with the ball like we're seeing now. He wasn't charging on the pitch. He didn't like kind of. He didn't give him the. He didn't give the air of like, give me the ball, I'm gonna do something. And now it seems to be a different case. He seems to be growing in confidence to become one of the main players in the team. He seems to be assuming a much more kind of a bit more of a leadership role in the team, and a bit more of a authoritative role in that central midfield. And the last few weeks, when we've been decreasing in our overall performance, he's been flying. Even in our bad games, he's been really good. And it's interesting because for the first like 10 or so games this season, I've been waxing lyrical about Højbjerg and his improvement, and I thought he started the season so well. And I think since that, for the last like 9 games or so, Bentancur is just been off the charts. Yeah,
for me, where I think this started, and it's the game I can remember, it may have been a bit sooner, was the Emirates, when I think he's the only player that can walk off that pitch at the Emirates with his head held high, because he gave everything. And ever since then, and what a place to start a string at that place. Ever since then, like you said, he has been so instrumental in everything we do. He has been the focal point, especially whilst Kulusevski's been out. Where we saw yesterday just what impact this man is and how special he is and what his creativity brings us. But Rodrigo Bentancur, since I reckon the North London derby, has been incredible. And all this time when we've been talking about the World Cup coming, and will people be going in for 50-50s, or will they be taking it easy, or he has just gone, nope, I'm going to do this for my team, I'm going to show this. And he has just been a shining example for us this month, like I said, since the beginning of October, he has been absolutely, without doubt, for me, our player of the season so far.
Well, we have a poll going.
We have a poll
going in our chat. Is Rodrigo Bentancur world class? At the moment, 113 votes in. 67% say yes, he is world class. and 34% say no, he is not world class. But Bentancur, I think if he carries on this trajectory, we could have one of the best midfielders, box-to-box midfielders anyway, in the division. I think defensively, for me anyway, he's always been one of the best in the division. I think defensively, I think he covers so much ground. I think he's an excellent tackler. I think he's one of those tacklers who doesn't just like a Lee Cattermole who just like boots it into Rose Ed. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, what comparison!
No, but he's one of those tacklers who, when he wins the ball, he wins it. You know what I mean? And cleanly, and he puts you on the attack. He gets you on the front foot. Whereas there are some tacklers who just like they get a slide tackle and they put out a play or they just boot it away and things like that. But he's like a really good tackler.
He's cultured.
Yeah,
he's very, very cultured with his sliding tackles. When he can do it, he can hook the ball.
Yeah, exactly. He's a fantastic tackler and he covers a lot of ground and he's really strong as well. But he's adding that ball playing ability to his game and he's adding that authority to his game. And it was interesting when Grand Mbappe came on the stream when we signed him, we were talking about Bentancur and we were asking what does he need to do to like take the next level, because he said that, you know, he's a great midfielder. He's got all the quality to be a top midfielder, but he just doesn't take enough responsibility and authority. He kind of always plays it safe when he's in the middle. And to go to the next stage, he needs to kind of, you know, want the ball in tight areas. He needs to make that next step. And I think that's what we're starting to see, hopefully. And Conte said in his press conference that, you know, Bentancur has all the quality to be a top midfielder, and it's just that extra step he needs to make to really become that. And that's why he said he pushes him so hard, harder than most of the other players, because he really believes he could be a top midfielder. And if he can keep up this level of performance, then honestly, we won't need a creative midfielder, because at the moment, him and Højbjerg are getting the goals. Because you've got to say, Bentancur now 5 goals and 2 assists a season, 7 goals and assists overall. Højbjerg has 4 goals and 4 assists, so 4 goals, so 8 goal contributions. That's 15 goal contributions from 2 supposed defensive mids. Yep. So that's, you know, considering we're in November now, we're only 15 games into the season. So what is that? We're kind of 3/4 of through the first half of the season, basically. 15 goal contributions. If I told you at the beginning of the season, by November, Højbjerg and Bentancur would have 15 goal contributions between them, you'd be like, what?
Well, compared to last season, you would have said I'd have taken that for their full season.
You'd be like, no, they won't.
Exactly.
Saying, well, did we sign Eriksen? You would have said.
Exactly. I mean, the only bad thing to take from Bentancur, from what I heard, his booking that he got yesterday means he's suspended for the Boxing Day game.
It was a 5th yellow card.
So he'll be out for Brentford. But he gets the booking out the way, it's done with. And obviously, coming back from a World Cup, who knows how far Uruguay goes. He may need that rest. So yeah, that was the only blotch on the scorecard yesterday. But yeah, like I said, we have a phenomenal. I don't know if I'd call him world class just yet, though. I think he's shown all the attributes and he's going completely in the right direction. And I think whilst he's at Spurs, he will become world class. Mm-hmm. I think it's just a bit too soon for me.
Fair enough. Yeah, I probably would agree with that. I think it's probably a bit too early to put him in the world class bracket. Although he is 24, so he's, you know, maybe a bit younger than, you know he seems to play like a 28, 29 year old.
Yeah, that I agree.
And he's quite young, but you know, if you take into account his performances at Juventus, where he won multiple league titles and he was a mainstay in that team, maybe he doesn't get enough credit for that. Maybe he should, because maybe people just say, oh, you know, Juventus was easy, you know what I mean? He doesn't get enough credit for being a mainstay in that team.
That's probably the fact, like you said, that they haven't won it since he's left when he was a mainstay. Not saying it's solely down to him, but it's a big part. I honestly think we'll get there. I can't really comment on his time in Italy because I didn't even know he existed. But I am loving what I see, and I reckon if we were to have this conversation this time next year, I would probably say without a doubt, yes, he's world class.
How does he compare to? Is he fine? Do we finally have a replacement for Dembele? Do you think?
Do you know what? It's so hard.
Yeah, you know, 5 goals. He probably has more goals than Dembele got in his career.
Well, on that part, he is showing. I mean, the thing I love with Mr. Dembele, and I got to see him live on so many occasions, was just his sheer strength and getting away from people and how he just got that ball forward. It's like I said, I saw a few people on Twitter having this discussion, and a lot of people were saying, yeah, he has done more than Dembele, and for me, that's still Still a tough one for me to agree with, but I can see it. In answer to your question, do we have the Dembele replacement? I think we most certainly do. I think we can most certainly do.
1 sec. Okay. One other player I want to talk about when it comes to maybe Juventus rejects is this guy who made his. Let's get the phone back up. This guy who made his first start since injury yesterday, Dejan Kulusevski. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal yesterday. Obviously, it says only 1 assist, but he was involved in a few of the goals. Apart from that, dribbles attempted. He attempted 11 dribbles and completed 5. Big chances missed 1. When did he have a big chance, Kulusevski? I'm trying to remember. When did he have a?
I'm trying to think myself.
Yeah, did he have a big chance which he missed?
I think he did. I think he did.
There was one chance where Richarlison played him in behind and he completely miscued it. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I didn't think that was like a big chance.
Who knows what these stat places make of it now?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when. Who could in the chat? When did he have a big chance? But anyway, key passes he had 4 during the game, which is quite an impressive total. Big chances created he had 2. 1 for the goal, and one for the second goal, and 1 for the last goal. Crosses, he didn't complete any of his 4 crosses, but he had an absolutely fantastic game yesterday. I felt in the first half he was the one carrying the ball into the box and making things happen, and set up a chance for Emerson Royal in one of the moves. He was linking really well for that. I'm pretty sure he was involved in the move that set up the chance for Emerson where he blazed it over the bar. He was carrying. He set up the chance for Kane, who had a shot clear off the line where it fell to Ben Davis and we scored. He set up another chance for the goal, which was exceptional. It was an exceptional assist, I thought, because in that position for the 4th goal, when it gets played into him, how many players just take that touch inside beyond the defender and make it easy like that? How many players would you say get the ball and either cut inside or just try a first time ball or something like that, or even when they do get past the defender, don't have the presence of mind to kind of back and go for goal and try and squeeze it in and stuff like that. Like for him to, first of all, you have that brilliant touch inside the defender, then have the presence of mind to just put it back to Bentancur to slot it home, I thought was exceptional. And that's what really separates him from a lot of wingers, is just decision making in those areas, in those final third areas. And I thought he was a breath of fresh air again yesterday, and I thought his dribbling ability was completely on show. His decision-making, the final third, was completely on show, and it was fantastic to see Kulusevski back in the team yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, do you know the great thing is about defenders just don't know what to do with him. They don't know if he's going to go outside on his right, cut in on his left. He is such a special player, and there's 2 instances or 2 references with players. It's like people when we were saying he doesn't have the pace. He's got the brain of Teddy Sheringham. A lot of people have said this. His footballing brain is second to none. And what I did notice yesterday was something that I heard a commentator once say about Gascoigne when he was trying to get into the World Cup squad for Italia 90, when they're saying that Gascoigne doesn't have pace, but he seems to be able to get away from people very, very easily. And that's what he does. His awareness of what's ahead of him, he has got eyes in the back of his head, and he is just lethal. And when he gets the ball, or when we know it's being passed to him, you just know, and you see just how badly we've missed his creativity, whether it be his spreading the play or whether it be his directness. He is just an exceptional player. He is absolutely incredible, and you can see he came on against Liverpool within 80 seconds. He assists Harry Kane, and to come back from the injury and then start and then pretty much play all the game and be pivotal in it again. He is just extraordinary. I think we've got another world-class player on our hands coming through.
Yeah, and he's 22.
Exactly.
He's so young. What a ceiling this guy has.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's come back from injury and straight away is already starting to contribute to the team, when from other players who've been out for that long, they might take a bit of time to get back into the team. or to get back in the flow of things. It's like he's never been away. I think he's got 6 assists now this season in the Premier League, which is I think so. Let me just check that. But which is quite astonishing considering the amount of time he's been out.
Yep.
I think not many other players have more assists than him in the whole Premier League. So let's see. This season he's got 1 goal, 5 assists. It says. Oh, that's just in the Premier League. Yeah, 1 goal, 5 assists. And that's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In 7 starts,
he's got 5 assists.
1 goal and 5 assists. It's ridiculous.
Like you said, just when you have him there, when he's been out, you've just seen the golfing class when we've been trying to play other players in that position, or whether it be Richarlison, whoever it may be, to try and get that creativity. When he's there, the 3-4-3 works. You just know something's going to happen. That left foot. If you look at the assist that he got for Sessegnon against Southampton, and I can't remember the other goal he set up with a very, very similar pass. That left foot is like a heat-seeking missile. Yeah. He just and it finds the target. He is the variety of passing, the strength he has as well is just for his age as well. You look at it, Brian Hill's the same age, and you look at them in stature, forget skill assets and everything like that. If there was ever a player that was born for the build for the Premier League, it's Dejan Kulusevski, and I just think this guy is, the sooner we actually make it official and that he's a Spurs player, the better.
Yeah, I don't think there's any issue about that, I don't think.
Exactly. He's just outstanding. He really is. And you can see why. I mean, that obviously the Kulusevski came out very, very quickly. And you can see why he's a fan's favourite immediately. He is very, very special. Yeah,
what a player. And from the good, the bad, and now, well, not bad, but now bad in a good way, but and the ugly in Emerson Royal. I felt like yesterday, like he missed that open goal from 12 yards pretty much, where he ballooned it over the bar. He had that crossfield pass where I don't know what he's doing. There's absolutely no one in sight. There's not a Tottenham player in like a 20-yard vicinity of where he passes it. Slowly moves down left, right, and centre. Really was a kind of everything we know that's bad about Emerson Royal pretty much occurred yesterday. And there were ironic jeers, which I didn't like when he was taken off, but that did happen. But how many times are we going to have to go through this with Emerson Royal about these performances of his?
So I have to say as well, yesterday when I was sitting here with Nick, we started off saying that he hasn't been too bad, but just because he was getting forward or whatever. But then when I got home and watched it again, I need to categorically state everything that I said about him being good yesterday, I want to take back and apologise for, because he was woeful. People say that he adds us something defensively and better in shape. Both goals came from down that right-hand side that we conceded in the first half. That pass that he... Do you know what? I think it's even worse than the no-look pass. Like you said, there is not, when you look at that ball, there is not a Spurs player in the camera shot.
Yeah, like there's not one anywhere near anywhere.
Exactly, and it just goes lovely into the Leeds midfielder, and they can start going forward. I don't know what Conte is seeing in him anymore. I just don't. And
after Spencer's positive cameo, you thought maybe I never really expected him to start, but I mean, I guess he doesn't have too many other options where maybe you can argue with Doherty there, but Emerson at the moment is just not doing a great job for what we need our wing-backs to be, and I don't think he ever will be.
The only other thing I will say is, as we've said, Matt Doherty, no matter what we think of him, he seemed to have a great understanding with Bow, and he was building a great one up with Kulusevski before he got injured. So if there's any plus point for Doherty over Emerson, it is the understanding he seems to be able to strike up with his right winger. So that's the only thing, but I don't know where we go from Emerson anymore. And the worst thing is, you keep seeing people like Juventus want him behave. Not happening. Who in their right mind? I mean, we got royally, excuse the pun, duped for him. I don't know what our scouting team saw in him. I don't know why Barcelona are apparently laughing at us for paying that amount of money for him.
They definitely are laughing at the bank.
And he has just been, look, he seems like a lovely person. He's well respected within the dressing room, which is all lovely. But you're paid handsomely to do stuff on the football pitch, and you're not doing it. And I don't know what it's going to take for it to be dropped or sold, but I don't think you could. There's not any more excuses you can have for playing him, can you?
Only lack of options, and he's the only wing back. I guess you could argue that he kind of has a physicality to get up and down the wing as much as he does. So I guess that's the only other argument you can have, that he's the wing back that we should be playing at the moment. But defensively, he's starting to wane as well a bit, and offensively, he's never really offered anything. And Emerson Royal, surely his days at Tottenham are numbered. I don't think he'll be leaving in January, but I can't see him lasting over next season.
Well, you got. I mean, I want us to get central defenders in before we sort out that right wing back, because the central defence just needs work big time. But is Spence going out on loan? We will have to wait and see. And if he does, or if he doesn't, we still need another one in, because it's not good enough. And we'll have to wait and see. I can't see. I think he goes in the bracket of another player like an Ndombele, Lo Celso, who we just can't get money for. We'll be sending them out on loan with an option to buy or whatever. And it's another.
I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong, but it seems like he's falling into that category, don't you think? Who's going to pay? Or what's the point? If we bought him for what was it, 25 million, 30 million euros or whatever? How much is Daniel Levy going to want for him?
Well, at least his money back, isn't he?
Is that going to happen?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So loan deals it is, but yeah, it needs addressing. I think yesterday's performance just solidified what we all know, and hopefully Conte can see that now.
All right, update on the poll. 340 votes in. Is Bentancur world class? 67% of you still saying yes.
Wow.
And 33% saying no. Before we get on to some callers, where it's your time to have your say on all things Tottenham, let's get through some super chats, and you've been very generous to send some chats in. Let's go first of all. Israel Uncovered as Amir. Big up to Amir.
Big up, Amir, brother.
He says, big up Daigle and Sim, comeback kings at it again yesterday. Good way to end before the break. Let's hope we get everyone back uninjured and ready to go.
Correct.
And that's going to be crucial for the World Cup, isn't it? That we for the second half of the season, that we don't know what state, Kane's going to be in, Son's going to be in, Bentancur, Højbjerg. We don't know how they're going to come back, and let's just hope they come back in good physical shape, because it's ridiculous. They've got 1 week. They've got a 1 week break now to the World Cup, and then when the World Cup finishes, luckily we're out of the Carabao Cup, so we don't have a 4-day break, and then we have a 1 week break before the season starts again, and it's ludicrous.
Well, do we know when the actual teams start flying out to Qatar? I mean,
I'm sure
obviously
it's
we've
now.
I would imagine they're flying out today or tomorrow. The England team, and then they'll just
probably
be relaxing and training.
Once all the Premier League stuff's over.
Exactly. This rest of them, thank God, hopefully we never have to go through this again. And
it's 1 week. You usually get a month, 6 weeks before, and then after as well. You probably get a month break. 1 week is just absolutely it's
absurd.
It's absurd, and no wonder we're seeing so many more injuries and all these kind of things. I think it's gonna go crazy over the World Cup. It's gonna go potty, the injury.
I mean, thank God for us with James Maddison.
Yeah, hopefully he's all right. But I reckon there's going to be so many injuries over the World Cup.
Oh, without a
doubt. Next super chat is from Ivan D. He says, nice to see Daigle in the studio.
Thank you very much, Ivan, brother.
Shepster Boy says, I just want to thank Juventus for giving us their rejects. Let's give them our reject chicken royale in return and get someone like Quadrado or Dumfries. They can have our rejects for sure. I wouldn't mind that at all. Rich Frith says, big up, lads. Bentancur is a beast. Spurs player of the season. Is he our player of the season right now? Or is it just a form thing?
For me, right now, he is our player of the season, categorically, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah,
he's been absolutely phenomenal over the last few weeks. Really is stepping into his own, and I'm so happy for him, because he's going through a tough time at Juventus, and everyone wanted him out, and everyone was shitting on him. But he really has stepped it up over the last few weeks and showing what a good midfielder he can be.